Hello, my name is Raymond Karchevsky, and I am a living Christ. Today I should like to speak to you about the difference in energy that is expressed by me and by you. The energy is quite different. It's the vastly different comparative energy of non-dualism and dualistic speech. One is divine. It's based in truth. It's based in direct conception of non-dualistic energy. It's about one who speaks truth. There is no contradiction to truth. Truth is what is. And when one is based in one's subconscious mind, the mind of God, he truly becomes that energy of oneness, of truth, of life, of love. No opposition. However, he does reflect when he speaks to anyone of the dualistic mind. There is definitely the contradiction noted by the dualistic individual, one who is conditioned to live in the dualistic conscious intellect, the mind of opposites, the mind of split consciousness, where dualism is always the fly in the ointment. One can never see the what is. They can only relate to the what is with the truth through words and ideas, concepts, illusions. They are addicted to the thought of what is. That is satanic. That's the subtlety of it all. You can always note a man of truth because he's simple, he's direct, and there's no nonsense about him. Whereas the Satanist is always the game player, the twister, the turner, the jester, the one who wears masks to suit the occasion. Those are the powerful men that you meet in hell. The politicians, the so-called world leaders, the so-called religious leaders, the popes, the presidents. They're corrupt, dualist intellectuals. They're trained. Though they say the right thing at the right time, and to a rigid, indoctrinated intellect of slaves. They tell them what they want to hear, and they pleasure them. Great deal of flattery, great deal of stroking. If you watch a public meeting of the president, if you can get beyond the flowery language, the climbing all over oneself with flattery, you understand? Ego stroking. When agencies roll out its leaders, and one by one by one by one, they stroke each other. They tell about how the other is wonderful and marvelous and doing a bang-up job, and yet you understand that the job isn't being done. The thought of the job being done is being conveyed to you, but if you look for results, you're not finding them. All you're getting is promises. That's the difference between a man of truth and a BS artist who's good at what he does. You have many men who claim to be men of God. They're all BSers. Pay attention. Pay attention to how they speak to you. They flatter you. They stroke you. Tell you how wonderful you are. They set you up so that you will receive what they have to say. They have trouble with the truth, though they speak somewhat of the truth, a scintilla of the truth, but they are not truth. That is the power they have over you. You are not able to distinguish the truth from the idea of truth. That is your frailty. It's a tough nut to break. Understand? You cannot agree to support such individuals, and at some time your life will fall apart and there'll be no one there to help you, despite all the flowery words that are spoken to you through official announcements. Pay attention to your governmental press releases, to the media who repeats and repeats and repeats, so that it becomes lodged into your memory banks through repetition, through habitual thinking. You're being conditioned. You're a robot. You're a Satanist. Oh, and you believe the illusion that you're religious, and you speak about God a great deal, all concepts. You fail to reveal that energy of wholeness, of oneness in your actions. You're a hypocrite. I was born into a family of hypocrites. Bar none. I left Chicago some 55 years ago. It was boxing that got me out. That was my savior, that brutal sport of boxing. And it served the purpose of relocating me elsewhere in the world where I was free. I was dependent upon no one but myself and my understanding. And that was enough. That got me through. When the move was made, I realized that boxing was not my ultimate dream of life. I wanted peace. I wanted freedom. I wanted sovereignty. But I was caught in the throes of violence, and I became a cop. I experienced all the violence of boxing, of being raised in a poor neighborhood, involved in sports to sublimate that violence, and then boxing in the Army, and then ultimately relocation to the West Coast. From Chicago, some 2,000 miles away from the life that I knew. It was a universe as far as truth was concerned. A universe away from the hell of Chicago. However, I found that that same hell is wherever you are, unless you are immunized from the pain, the suffering of contradiction. And that can only be found within you, within your subconscious mind. As long as you're in your Your conscious intellect, you're in hell. You bring it with you wherever you are. And your ego is what you are at war with. And understanding comes when you dissolve the ego, you dissolve the contradictions, the separation of your dualistic intellect, and you meld into the oneness of non-dualism, the subconscious mind. That's the second coming of Christ consciousness. And life becomes an exercise in love, because there's no opposite to love. You may be opposed because you're dealing with dualistically inclined Satanists, and they don't know any better. And so they naturally react to that which is beyond their comprehension. And that is the pain and suffering that they experience, and try to project that pain onto someone else to pass the buck. You understand? They can't do it. It comes back at them. That's called karma. One comes to the point of truth, of love, of understanding, only by going through the trials of the pain and suffering, of non-understanding, of ignorance, of normalcy. For most people, you're all in your intellect. You're believers. You believe in concepts. You believe in illusions. You believe in all kinds of concocted theories that you believe to be true, but they're not true. And that proves itself to you like nothing else. But you must pay attention. You must be aware. There's a vast difference between knowledge and awareness. Awareness is holy. It's complete. It's holistic. Knowledge is fragmented. It's belief. And it's based in conditioning. What others tell you and expect you to believe is truth. That's how the world is run. That's how hell becomes manifest in your life. And you don't understand why you can't end it. It's because you're living in a dualistic intellect, and it has power over you. Now, the only way to transcend that intellect is to stop the noise, the petty noise of thoughts and ideas that have been programmed into you that are not true, but are close to truth, close enough for you to believe it. That's what faith is all about. All religions have truth in them at the very fundamental level. It is at the superficial level that they differ, and that accounts for the different philosophies that you hold to, philosophies that appeal to you, appeal to your general feeling of wholeness. You believe to be wholeness, but you're not whole because you're in conflict. You know that you're in conflict when you're debating, when you're arguing, when you're fighting. You see, that's dualism. That's hell. Your world is of that nature. And my speaking of it offends you because you want to create the illusion that that is your God. You can't do it. It's impossible. You can't be a Christian and a Buddhist. Well, fundamentally, you're the same. But at the peripheral levels, you're not. You can't be a Muslim. You can't be a Taoist. You can't be a Jew. You understand? It is the superficial conditioning that makes for the challenges, the barriers of nationalities. Understand? Now you have war. It's all there for you. Satanic war. Because of difference of opinion. Opinions are dime a dozen. They have nothing to do with truth. But only a man of truth, a Christ, can speak the truth, can live the truth, and can express the truth through his very being. You understand? All you can do is believe, to try to emulate, to put on a face, a mask, to lie in order to feign love. That's the sign of a hypocrite. I was born into a family of hypocrites, and they have a society of hypocrites. And they remain so all their lives to this very present day. So, in a sense, I don't fit in with my family. I don't fit in with most of you. And that is the evidence of my non-duality, because I argue with no one. I will not tell you what you want to hear. I will not give you the answers that you must find for yourself, but I will point the way. And that's enough. You have to do the work. But you're unbalanced. You're spoiled. You want an answer, a pat answer. And then you try to work out that pat answer that you receive from another man. It doesn't work for you because you don't understand it. You merely believe it. That's the sign of a programmed Satanist living in hell. You can change that hell anytime you want, not by violence, not by opposition, merely by boycott. Withdraw your personal energy, your funds, your money, and these fictitious agencies will dry up on the vine. They'll die on the vine for lack of support, because they are parasitical. They live off your energy, because you are the only creator, and they are the managers. When you get that through your head, you understand who really holds the power. It's you. I have shown that through the courts of Oregon. I have shown that they have no power over a living man because they were unable to prove that they had jurisdiction over me, the living man. I have spoken about that for the past 2 decades. I'm still speaking about it, and none of you get it. Get it to the point where it is yours, and you can live that way. You can face the boogeymen of judges and of lawyers and of superior believed individuals who are leaders It's a scam. And you're being scammed. And it takes courage for you to get yourself out of the scam. It will not be given to you. You cannot join a group because all groupthink is satanic. All, without exception. Oh, you can feel good in the meantime while you're suffering in hell because misery does love company. It's time for all that to change. The rug is about to be pulled out from under you, and our society is going to collapse. And it's going to take most of you with it. And what I mean by that is you're going to die because you can't cope in a truthful world. You have been corrupted into dependency, into desire for others to do for you what you can only do for yourself. And that is your sin. That is why I'm not acceptable to you, because I'm too direct. And you can't twist my words, even though you will try. That has been tried now for 25 years. They have failed. So they declare that this living Christ is dead. And what you see are a list of impostors pretending to be this living Christ. You understand? Think about that for a while, and you can understand better the kind of world that you live in, and that you do your damnedest to abide by. Hell, isn't it?